Good morning. Well, the Mueller report's out, and it may be the most expensive thing you and I have ever paid for that we may never see. It's interesting, isn't it? 2.5 years and 25 million taxpayer dollars. Now, this is not about Donald Trump. It's not about hating on Donald Trump, criticizing Donald Trump. This is strictly about the tale of two reports, so to speak. So, if you love Donald Trump, you should be pretty pissed off today. Really pissed off. Because 25 million of your tax dollars went to investigate your guy. Big cloud hung over the White House for 2.5 years. If you hate Donald Trump, you should be pissed off too. We can all agree we should all be pissed off. Because your tax dollars went to a 2.5 year, $25 million investigation that apparently yielded nothing. Oh yeah, the Russians interfered in our election, but Donald Trump didn't know about it. And on the obstruction of justice thing, well, no evidence there. I can't prove it. So on one hand, Trump is dancing because he's been exonerated. Well, yes and no. If you understand the law, the fact that the prosecutor didn't find any evidence or couldn't bring it to court or charge somebody with it, that doesn't mean the guy's innocent. And this is the thing in our country. We do guilty or not guilty in a court of law. In England, they do proven or not proven. And not proven doesn't mean you're innocent. It just means the prosecutors didn't do their job. So if you hate Donald Trump right now, you want to read that Mueller report and find out what the hell he did for 2.5 years. There's a couple people that are serving jail time right now who are thinking, damn, we should have kept our mouths shut because this thing didn't go anywhere. Mike Flynn, Cohen, Manafort, they're going to jail. And their boss is claiming victory. I bet they're really pissed off right now. Because, well, they didn't pay taxes. That's part of their issues, tax evasion. But their tax dollars paid for this too. And we got nothing to show for it. And the president himself comes out and says, you know, this should never happen to another president. This was a pox on our country. But see, it did happen to another president. Remember Bill Clinton? Remember the Starr report, which we basically did get to read? I read it cover to cover. It reads like a Gothic novel. And this, my friends, is total hypocrisy right now. Because while this investigation, again, paid for by the taxpayers, so if you loved Bill and Hillary Clinton, you should have been pissed off, because your tax dollars paid Ken Starr's salary and all his people trying to get something on the Clintons. If you hated Bill Clinton, well, you got a little bit of what you wanted. Bill Clinton and his family were embarrassed, because that's all this is. This reads like a Gothic novel. 600 pages, including pictures of the president with Monica Lewinsky, his girlfriend. Yes, this is the stuff that Ken Starr unearthed, an extramarital affair. This was printed for one purpose, to embarrass the Clintons. That's it. The fact that it destroyed other lives in the meantime, the McDougalls, didn't matter. All this report, 600 pages, all that came out was Bill Clinton was a really bad husband. Cheated on his wife, which she already knew. That wasn't news to her. But imagine, whether you love him or hate him, imagine you're a wife, your husband cheats on you, and you get to see the woman he cheated on you with every day on the news. And oh, by the way, the woman who slept with your husband knowing he was married now is becoming the victim. portraying herself as a victim. Poor Monica. No, I say poor Hillary. Now, whether or not she knew what she was getting into, it should never have, this should have been a private family issue. My husband cheats on me. I don't want to see the slut he cheats on me with. I'm not saying Monica is. I'm saying if my husband cheats on me, I'm going to call the woman he cheats on me with a whore. I don't want to see her on TV every day claiming to be a victim. I'm the victim. He was my husband. You know, someone who is so naive, she saves a sample on a dress. I mean, come on. What 24-year-old little naive girl who's been sexually harassed, as she claims now, does that? Who thinks to do something like that? But you know, this Star Report, yeah, they were trying to get the Clintons for murder, for real estate fraud, tax stuff. Here's what the Star Report is. Linda Tripp's handwritten notes. Monica Lewinsky's complete testimony and interview statements. Monica Lewinsky's letters to the president. Email with friends. Linda Tripp's tapes and photographs. I mean, come on. This is just something that the Republicans, they had a Mardi Gras party about it. They were dancing when this book was released. But now that it's their guy, now that it is their guy, well, maybe we don't need to release it to the public. The public doesn't need to see it. After all, there was no there there. There was no there here. The Clintons weren't indicted. They didn't go to jail. He wasn't impeached. But we got to see this. So I submit to you, we get to see the Mueller report. We get to see what 25 million taxpayer dollars looks like. I want to see. And those of you who love Donald Trump should want to see it too, because then you can be at your dinner party and someone says, hey, Trump, ew. You can say, oh, wait, look, page 250, right there. He's innocent. They couldn't find anything wrong. And if you hate Trump, you can actually read every page and say, no, wait a minute. This guy didn't do his job. It's so funny that over the last 2.5 years, Donald Trump tweeted many, many times that what a horrible person Robert Mueller was. He's a disgrace. Disgrace to the Republican Party. Disgrace to his profession. And yesterday, he's a stand-up guy. He's awesome. He did a great job. Okay. God only knows what he would have tweeted if he had been actually found something to get the president for. But remember this. Just because there was not enough evidence to prosecute the president or his inner circle, it doesn't mean he was innocent. It doesn't mean he's innocent. It just means they don't have the evidence, because in our country, you need evidence. That's what makes our country good. You can't just go in and arrest somebody without being able to prove they did something wrong. But I love this hypocrisy, this flip and flop, that when it was Bill Clinton, everybody wanted everything out in the open, mostly Republicans. They were like, yeah, let's nail him to the wall. And if he's not going to get indicted, then at least we can embarrass the hell out of him and his family. We'll ruin them. And that's what this book was for, to embarrass the Clintons, to embarrass their daughter. Who was more innocent in all this than Chelsea? And every day she had to hear about what a bad husband her daddy was and how badly he hurt her mommy. Your tax dollars hard at work. That's what they got on the Clintons. He sucked as a husband. Again, Bill Clinton never hurt me. So why should I give a shit that he cheats on his wife? That's his wife's problem. She can't control her husband. That's on her. And all these years later, Monica Lewinsky is claiming sexual harassment. That's bullshit. Bill Clinton never forced her to give him sexual favors. Bill Clinton, in fact, it was the people around Bill Clinton He never threatened her job status. People around him, for his protection, moved her to the Pentagon during that time because she was constantly trying to get in with the president. They didn't like it. They were worried for the president, as they should have been. But now, all these years later, with Me Too, she claims sexual harassment. Well, okay, that's a subjective thing. You either believe that or you don't. I don't buy that shit. I was 24 once. I've had crushes on my bosses. Believe me, nobody was sexually harassed. If anything, I was the stalker trying to get in with the boss. So, whatever. 24-year-old brain, 40-something-year-old brain, we think differently. But at the end of the day, the Starr report was made public. We all got to read it. At the end of the day, taxpayers paid Ken Starr's salary. The Clintons had to pay their own legal fees out of their own pocket, millions of dollars. And again, they're wealthy people now. You can't feel sorry for them. But think about that. The taxpayers of the United States pay millions of dollars for a prosecutor to come after you. And you have to defend yourself and hire your own lawyers out of your own pocket. That's kind of scary, isn't it? What's even scarier is some Republicans now who are not happy with the report are saying, let's get another special prosecutor. Mueller didn't do a good job. Oh, God, really? More of our taxpayer dollars? To do what? Look, again, love him, hate him, whatever. If Trump did anything wrong, he's covered his tracks. And if he didn't do anything wrong, then shame on the investigators for trying to find something to pin on him, just like they did with Clinton. But you have to be equal about it. If you are a Republican who hates the Clintons and you think that the Starr report and the Starr investigation was all legit and that this book should have been released, well, then you should feel the same way about any president who may or may not have committed a crime while pretending to work for you. Okay? Do I think Bill Clinton tarnished the Oval Office? Yes, he did. But I believe Monica Lewinsky was a willing participant. And this was an extramarital affair, not a crime of highest demeanor, that high crimes and misdemeanor that should have been prosecuted at taxpayer dollar expense. You don't, my God, if my husband cheats on me, do you think I can find a federal prosecutor that's going to spend $25 million going after him? Hell no. In our country, adultery is not punishable by jail time. It's not punishable by a $20 million, $30 million, $45 million investigation. You don't do that. If your husband cheats on you, you have two choices. Forgive him and stay with him, or divorce his dumb ass and take half of everything he owns. It's a private matter. And the public really didn't need to know. But we got to know. This book is something else, man. And I don't see one thing in this book, except perhaps the fact that the president lied about it, the perjury thing, that is actually a crime. And I mean, come on. If someone says to you, hey, did you fuck the 24-year-old intern and lie about it? You're going to be like, hell yeah, I lied about it. Yeah, I'm going to go home to the wife and go, guess what I did at the office today? I mean, come on. Of course he lied about it. Of course he told Monica, don't be telling people. I am married. I mean, who the hell tells people the truth about having an extramarital affair? It's called cheating for a reason. You don't brag about it. Problem is, when you cheat with a 24-year-old, she's going to brag about it because she's proud of it. I'm sleeping with the president. Isn't it cool? Yeah. So that's that. But this Mueller report, because the Republicans were so hot to get Clinton and get him embarrassed and get the Starr report out there, then I think the Republicans should also be just as hot to have the Mueller report go public. Some are trying to fight it, and I wonder why. What is in that report? Trump says, release it, I don't care. But he's like, well, it's not up to me. Well, yeah, it kind of is. Let me just give you an example of something. If I had been investigated for 2.5 years for a crime that I believe I did not commit, and at the end of the investigation, it was said, I didn't do it. I'm not going to be charged. Everything's cool. No evidence. I would be releasing that report. I would be copying it and sending it to everybody. I'd do a mass mailing. I would want people to read it. Trump says he does, but it's not up to him. You know what? At the end of the day, he can insist. The Attorney General and everybody else he's saying has to make the decision. They work for him. He can do an executive order and say, I want this released to the taxpayers who paid for it. I want them to see it, cover to cover, instead of the cliff notes we've been given. We're not 5-year-olds. We don't need this report read to us. And we don't need just the parts that are favorable toward the president read to us. I think we are all intelligent and capable enough, well, most of us are, to read this for ourselves and make our own conclusions. And I will be the first one to say, if I read this Mueller report, I will read it with an open mind and I will read it fairly. Because I know about the law. I know what the law is and isn't. But I do want to know what the hell Robert Mueller did with my $25 million, our $25 million, for the last 2.5 years. And I would think that all of you, whether you like Trump or not, would want to know as well. The ones who like Trump want to be vindicated. We knew it. It was a witch hunt. The ones who don't like Trump want to know how Robert Mueller spent their money, spent our money. What did he actually do with that money? Some of you believe Donald Trump committed a crime. But when you're going to start talking out of school before the report came out that the president is guilty of treason, punishable by death in this country, well, you shouldn't be saying that shit unless you have the there to back it up. Because that's a pretty serious charge. There is no there in the Mueller report. Just like they tried to get the Clintons for murder, and there's no there in this report. Remember that Vince Foster guy they said Hillary hadn't killed? Guess what? Didn't happen. Not in here. The only thing that's in here is sex and semen stains on dresses and a friend, Linda Tripp, who betrayed a 24-year-old girl. That's what's in this. This is what our tax dollars paid for. So yeah, I would like to read the Mueller report as well. If it was good for the Republicans to smear Clinton, then it's good for the goose, good for the gander. Let's read this Mueller report. And if it truly says the president is innocent, which it doesn't exactly say that, but as far as what I've heard, but if it exonerates him from the most serious charges, then I want to read that too. I want to read that too. I don't want to get it from the news. I don't want to get it from CNN. I don't want to get it from Fox or MSNBC or the Today Show. I want to read it with my own 2 eyes. So how about you? Do you want to read the Mueller report? And if you don't, why not? After all, you paid for it. Political Paula, out.